Hello, and welcome to episode 8 of the Sarah Seams podcast. Hello, and welcome to the Sarah Seams podcast. My name's Sarah, I'm the maker here, and this is where I talk all about my fiber crafts that I'm working on. So it's mostly knitting, and there'll be some like sewing and quilting sprinkled in. Today I have a little bit of everything. This is episode 8, if I didn't already say that. Today is Sunday, March 19th, and it's looking very nice and sunny outside. It's still cold, but definitely starting to feel like spring is right around the corner. And I have so much to share with you today. It's normally I record like every 10 days or so, but it's been a full 2 weeks. And I've just been really busy lately, so I haven't been able to record until now, so I have lots to share with you. And how this is going to work today is I'll tell you about what I'm wearing, then we'll go into finished objects, works in progress, acquisitions, which not very many today, and then at the end I'll just do a little bit of chatting. And first, I just want to thank you all so much. We reached 100 subscribers, yay! Which is honestly, when I started this, I didn't really have any specific goals in mind. I just wanted to create more of a dialogue with the community, the crafting community here on YouTube. But in my mind, I was like, man, if I got even 100 subscribers, like that would be so amazing. So thank you all so much. I'm so happy you're here. Please leave me a comment. Let me know where you're watching from. I love reading your comments. They really just make my day. So thank you for being here, and I hope we can continue to grow this channel together and create that sense of community that I know we're all here for. So thank you for that. And I'm excited to see where this can go from here. Aside from that, I'm just going to jump right into what I'm wearing. So let me stand up a little so you can see. So this is my Ursina sweater. And this was actually the first sweater I ever finished for myself. This pattern is by Jacqueline Cieslak, I believe is how you pronounce her name. And I was really drawn to it by this, first of all, I love a V-neck, but I was really drawn to this detail, this brioche panel and the shaping. Yeah, I feel like the fit is pretty good, all things considered. It's a little bit baggy. Maybe I could have probably gone down a size, but I do like kind of an oversized fit. I like the really long fitted sleeves. They're just like super cozy. And yeah, the yarn is Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino. And I actually purchased that at the beginning of 2022 when they had their, after the war in Ukraine started, they had a day where they donated all their proceeds to, I believe it was the Red Cross or a charity there, helping Ukrainians. And that was, I thought, I've never tried Knitting for Olive. This is a good opportunity. So I tried it and I love it. I really can't wait to use this yarn again in the future. So this is their worsted weight, I believe, the heavy merino. And then I'm also wearing, you can kind of see it. You'll see it more in a video later. This is a Maeve skirt. The pattern is by True Bias. I have like 5 or 6 of these. I really love them, but this fabric is what's so fun about this one. Let me see if I can find, yeah. It's the Garden Cats rayon from Blackbird Fabrics. So it has all these florals, but then it has like little kitties and like bees and stuff. So it's really cute, very like spring and summery, easy to wear. So yeah, that's what I'm wearing. And now I'm gonna jump right into finished objects. So I have my notes over here. Okay, so the first finished object, oops, sorry, that's my computer needing to be muted. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, my first finished object is my Savannah socks. So I had one of these finished last time, and now they're both done. So I'll just show you one. So I'll talk a little bit more about this later, but this is my first original design. So I'm working on the pattern now. My friend Jess actually offered to test them. So that was so nice of her. Thank you, Jess. And she's making a version that's like super bright coral and then like a colorful speckly yarn and lengthening the leg a little bit. So I can't wait to see how those turn out. But yeah, this is the smallest size, and I'm personally going to test the other 2 sizes So it might be a little while before I release it, but I'm gonna just release it as a free pattern. It's basically just a vanilla sock. It's just the striping design. So yeah, I will keep you all posted on that, but I really like how they turned out. So the yarns I used, the cream is Knit Picks Bear. It's their stroll base in just the undyed color. And then the blue is a 100% alpaca yarn that I got secondhand from Make and Mend, which is an online thrift store for craft supplies. And I think the yarn company is called Frog Tree. But yeah, I love that the alpaca gives it like, I don't know if you can see, it gives it a little bit of a halo. It's like pretty fluffy. But yeah, these turned out really nice. And I think I'm actually gonna end up gifting these to a coworker, but of course I'll wait until the pattern's released so I can use them for photography and everything. So yeah, those are the Savannah socks. And again, I'll talk a little bit more about those in relation to one of the whips in the whip section. My second finished object is an exciting one. I kind of powered through this in like, not this past week, but the week before that. Because I was really enjoying knitting on it, but I also just really wanted to have the finished object. So it is my Pressed Flowers cowl. So I made the largest size, and it's 58 inches long, so it's a little hard, a little tricky to show. I will put a couple pictures in as well in here somewhere so you can see me actually wearing it. I'm not gonna put it on now because it'll mess up all the hair and everything, but I'll put the pictures in. So yeah, you can see you start with a plain section, and then there's some flowers, a little more of a dense flower section, and then the reverse. And then you seam it together, and you can either wear it long or you can wear it like doubled up on itself. This is mystery yarn. I don't know what it is. It's definitely wool or a wool blend. Again, I got it secondhand from Make and Mend that I mentioned a minute ago. And I'm really happy with how it softened up after blocking. When I was working with it, it was very thick and thin, very scratchy. It's definitely the most like rustic wool that I've ever used, but I feel like it got really a lot softer. Like I can wear it next to my neck now and it's not gonna like drive me crazy or be super itchy. And I feel like the stitches puffed up really nicely, and it has a really nice squish and like, what's the word I'm looking for? Definition, but like the blocking really evened out this yarn, and everything like puffed up nicely. So yeah, I'm really happy with how this turned out. And I think I might make the smaller version as a gift for a couple people for Christmas, just like the true shorter cowl version. This is mosaic knitting, if I didn't already say that, which is a color work technique that doesn't require you to carry both strands behind, so it's not like stranded color work. Basically, you work down and back with one color, and then you work down and back with the second color. And I was afraid I was gonna run out of yarn, but I actually didn't. I actually have quite a bit of the navy left. I had more of the light blue, but I chose to use navy as the main color, so I was afraid I'd run out, but I didn't. So I definitely have enough left. I have a whole nother cake of the light blue, so I think next fall or maybe even later this summer, I'll probably cast on a matching hat. Maybe not like also the Pressed Flowers hat, but something at least in the light blue that they'll be like a cute set, and maybe do like a mitten or something as well. So yeah, it is still a bit rustic. It's a tiny bit itchy. It's not gonna bother me to wear it, but it is very warm. So that's gonna be really nice next winter. And I think if you wear it long, you can kind of just like wrap it under your coat, which is really nice. Or if you wear it short, it's super warm right around your neck. So yeah, I'm really happy with this. I loved knitting this. It's very addictive. Spoiler for my whips, I might have another Pressed Flowers project on my needles already. So that's that. And my last one is also really exciting. I have some good whips this time, or FOs this time. Okay, I finished my Corran cardigan. It's a little hard to show on the camera. So this was a test knit for Rebecca at the Crayabea. It's one of her original designs, and it's an all-over mesh cardigan. I knit the V-neck short sleeve version, and I used Santa's Garn Duo in black, which is a cotton merino blend. I am obsessed with this yarn. I feel like I haven't made a lot of summer knits yet, but I love this yarn. And when it blocked, it is so soft and drapey, and it's just like really light and airy. I really, really like it. I'll definitely use this yarn again. So yeah, I feel like it turned out amazing. I love how it fits me. I'm gonna put a video in so you can see how it looks on me. I kind of want to knit the long sleeve one too, maybe later this summer. But yeah, this pattern's coming out soon, I think in a couple of weeks, and I really can't recommend it highly enough for like a spring summer knit. Here's my buttons, you can see. Sorry, I don't know if the video was showing over that. I'll show them again. They're just like tortoiseshell. But yeah, I really love how it turned out. Oh, there's Moo right on cue, yelling at me. So yeah, the one thing I will say is the decreases for the front panels are a little bit tricky. I think because to make, I don't want to give too much away, it's going to be a pay for pattern, but to create the mesh pattern, there are yarn overs involved. And I think whenever you're trying to decrease and you're also yarning over, it's really easy to get off your stitch count because a yarn over is technically an increase, right? So it's like, am I actually decreasing? So what I would recommend, it's a really quick, fun knit. I would just recommend to anyone that makes it, and I think Rebecca's adding this to the pattern too, when you're working on the decrease sections for the V-neck or the back panel or whatever it may be, make sure you count your stitches at the end of each decrease row before you start the next row to make sure you're actually decreasing, because that was the only way I found to like make sure I was actually decreasing when I needed to be decreasing, because it is really easy to accidentally put that extra yarn over in there and then you're not actually decreasing. So I think a beginner could definitely make this. I would just pay extra close attention, like I said, to your decreases. But yeah, it's knitted bottom up, so once you finish the body, it really flies, and such a great summer pattern. I feel like I'm really glad I knitted it in black. I was a little bit worried about all this black knitting, but I'm really glad I did, because I think I'll be able to wear this over a lot of other things in my wardrobe or on its own as a top with like a little bralette or something underneath. So yeah, I love it. Very exciting. Can't wait for the pattern to come out. Congrats on another great pattern to Rebecca. Those are all of my FOs. I know, it's like socks, scarf, sweater. I was very busy in the past couple of weeks, so now I got to cast on a couple new things, so I'm gonna jump right into my whips. All right, the first whip I want to talk to you about today is a sewing project, and it is the Atlas top by Stitch Witch Patterns. I will put a picture in of what the finished top looks like. It's available up to a 50-inch bust, so would love to see a little bit more size inclusivity from this designer going forward. I know they're working on it, but it's not quite there yet, so hoping there will be more sizes available in this pattern in the future. For now, I am making, well, let me tell you. So I'm also going to put in here a video of my muslin. So I always make a muslin if something's a little bit more fitted, because I have a short torso for one thing, and I just want to make sure it's gonna fit correctly before I use my final nice garment fabric. I tend to make a lot of like oversized, flowy, kind of comfortable garments, and sometimes I don't make a muslin. But for something like this, I definitely wanted to make a muslin. So here's the video, and I will kind of talk you through what I'm showing in the video, some changes that I'm gonna make based on the fit of the muslin, which is a test garment. So for one thing, I wanna take, well, I'll try and go in the order of the video. So their underarm is huge. So I made the straight size 22, and it's way too big in the underarm. So I almost always have to grade out from the bust to the hip for fitted garments. And I don't know why I thought I could get away without doing it on this pattern. But yes, I'm gonna have to size down to a size 20 at the bust to get all that extra fabric out of the underarm. And then I will grade out to maintain the 22, which is a good fit for me at the waist. So that's the first thing, is all that extra fabric at the underarm. Second thing is the bust darts are very low. They're low on me. So I'm gonna raise the bust darts 1/2 inch. It has this cool like vertical bust dart line about halfway up the top, but it's too low for me. So I'm gonna raise that up by about 1/2 inch. I'm also going to shorten the entire body by about 1 1/8 inches. So a little bit more than 1 inch. Like I said, I have a short torso. I'm gonna be wearing this top with high-waisted skirts and pants. So I really want it to hit me right at my true waist. So that's going to mean shortening the front piece and also shortening the back piece and reshaping that curve. What else? Yes, I think the last thing is the neckline. It's very fitted. I could leave it as is and probably be fine wearing it still, but it's not super comfortable. I don't like to wear anything that's really tight up around my neck. So I'm gonna move the neckline out a little bit, make the shoulder a little bit more narrow, and I'm gonna drop it 1/2 inch in the front. So that's quite a few changes. You know, I have a lot of experience sewing and pattern drafting from going to school for fashion design and like working in the industry. So I am comfortable making all of those pattern changes at once, which is what I'm going to do. I would recommend to you, if you're just getting into garment fitting or if you're not quite as experienced with it, that you do one change at a time and then make another muslin. And this is a really completely finished muslin because I thought to myself, if it turns out perfectly, I could wear this. It's like some black linen scraps that I had, but it didn't turn out perfectly, which is fine. But, you know, normally I wouldn't do all the finishing on a muslin. I would just sew the seams I need to sew to visualize the fit and then go from there, and it would be quicker. But overall, I really like this top. I think it's very cute. The back detail is very pretty and summery, but it's not too revealing. Like there's just a little bit of skin at the back, and the cross is really pretty. And the fit, I think, is gonna be pretty easy to achieve for me after I make these changes, none of which are like crazy pattern changes. I should say I don't I have a smaller bust, so I don't ever have to do a full bust adjustment or anything like that. Something like that could be a little bit trickier on a pattern like this with an unusual dart placement, with them being at the center front. But yeah, I think it's very cute. It's a really quick sew, and there's only like 3 pattern pieces. So I'm looking forward to making a few of these for my summer wardrobe this year, and I will probably be sewing up a second muslin, hopefully wearable, out of some black cotton scraps that I have later today. So that is my Atlas top. Next one is back to knitting. So the sock saga continues. If you've watched the past few episodes, you'll know I'm knitting 3 pairs of socks for my partner Troy. Sorry, there's like a little hair floating around. For my partner Troy, out of 2 skeins of yarn. And I think I might have forgotten to say at the beginning that I'm in Columbus, Ohio with my partner Troy and our cats Alex and Moo, who you already heard. And if I did say that, sorry for repeating myself. But so the first pair, to refresh your memory, are these super bright teal 3x1 rib socks, and both yarns were purchased at Yarnify, which is a small yarn shop in Chicago. Really great if you're ever there, definitely worth the trip. And the yarn is a 3 Irish Girls Adorn Luxe tonal. This one, the color is Desert Turquoise. So that pair is finished. And then the second pair, same yarn, but it's just the Adorn Luxe base, and this color is Savannah, and I finished the first sock. So this pair is a 2x2 rib. So we've got kind of a rib theme. So there's a 5 inches of 2x2 leg, a traditional heel flap and gusset with a French heel, 2x2 on top of the foot, stockinette on the bottom, and then decreases for the toe, and it's grafted together. I didn't use a pattern for these. So this isn't blocked yet. You can see it's all like kind of shrinkied up still. But this yarn is so pretty. It's so colorful. I keep calling it spooky rainbow. It's like a dark rainbow pretty much. But it did like a little bit of pooling on the foot, but I think it looks cool. And so the idea is that after I finish the second one of these, which I just finished the first one, that'll be a pair with these. They're pretty friendly. There's like little pops of the teal in the Savannah colorway. So those are the first 2 pairs. And then for the third pair, I wanted something that had ribbing but incorporated both colors to use up my scraps for the third pair. And that is why I designed the Savannah socks. So the idea is we'll have this pair, and then a pair of the Savannah socks that combine those two colors together. And depending on how much yarn I have left over when I'm done, I might have to lose the top repeat and make these more of a shorty. But that's the nice thing about this, you can add or lose repeats as needed. I will say this size, this is the small size, it took about 25 grams of each yarn to make the entire pair of socks. So unless the medium size uses way more, I think I'll be on track to have plenty to make the same. So yeah, so you can kind of get an idea of what those are gonna look like. So I'm super excited. They're all coming together. I guess I'm technically halfway done with these because I have 3 of the 6 total socks finished at this point. So that's exciting. I'm just throwing socks across the room now. So yeah, I'm gonna start the second one of these this week, but making good progress on them so far. All right, second work in progress, knitting wise, is the Pressed Flowers cardigan. So I just showed you my finished Pressed Flowers cowl, and I loved knitting it so much I thought I have to make the cardigan now. So I treated myself to some yarn. My favorite yarn store that I've never been to is Wild Hand in Philadelphia. If you haven't seen their Instagram or their website, do yourself a favor and check it out. Their yarns are beautiful, and they just have such a pretty way that they curate their website and their store, and someday I'll go there. I like Philadelphia. I'm sure I'll be there again at some point, and I can't wait to visit them in person, but I do like to order yarn from their website. So I saw on Instagram that they were carrying a new base from Kelborn Woolens, which is a brand that I really like. I've used a few of their other bases before. They also distribute from Philadelphia, and the new base is called Cricket. It's 100% merino, but non-superwash merino. And let me show you the color I got for the main color for my Pressed Flowers cardigan. It's so pretty. So this color is mulberry. So you can see it's a pretty dark purple, like a reddish purple, but then it has little tweedy bits of like black and pink and red and green and little bits of purple. It's really pretty. I will say this yarn is very thick and thin. It's listed as a sport weight, but I would say it varies anywhere from like lace to DK. So it comes out sport weight in the wash, and I think when you see it knitted up, it doesn't come across as super thick and thin. And the yarn I used for my cowl was also very thick and thin, and it blocked out really even. So I'm hoping the same thing will happen with this, but it's really nice. It has a lot of like bounce, and I really like it. It's soft. It's definitely next to skin soft for me, but it's not superwash merino. So it's a little bit more rustic than you'd be used to for merino if you've only used like superwash sock yarns. It's really nice. I love the color. I think it's gonna look really pretty on me. And yeah, so this is my main color. And then I decided for the contrast color to stick with the recommended and try Spin Cycle for the first time. I've never used Spin Cycle before. So I got the color Wallflower, which I'm obsessed with. And the color varies really widely. Some of the skeins of this are much more purple, some are much more red. And I didn't put any notes or anything when I ordered. Spin Cycle says that, you know, if you are looking for a particular color, you can like leave them a note. I just let them pick what they picked for me, and this is exactly what I was hoping for, so I'm very happy. This is dyed in the wool, like I said, color Wallflower. It is made in the USA, which is wonderful. This is 100% American wool. It is superwash, 200 yards, sport weight. So yeah, I have these two together for my Pressed Flowers cardigan. Look how pretty that is. It's so springy. They're very friendly yarns. I don't know, they just like want to be together in a beautiful cardigan. So that's exciting. And they came so fast. I ordered them on the same day, and they both came like, not the next day, but the day after that, which kind of surprised me, honestly. But yeah, so I have 3 skeins of the cricket and 4 skeins of the dyed in the wool. Let's see. I think I'm making size 4. I was torn between size 4 and size 5. I think she recommends, this pattern is by Amy Christoffers, Savory Knitting. And I think she recommends like 6 inches of ease in the pattern, which would have put me right between size 4 and 5. But I just finished knitting the Corran Cardigan and really like how that one fits. And it has the same finished measurement as the size 4. And also if I made the size 4, I could get away with ordering like 1 skein less yarn of each yarn. And these are pricier yarns. So that definitely was a factor. That was a factor for me when deciding what size to make. So I decided to make the size 4, and I'm pretty happy with that decision so far. I think the size 5 would have ended up being really big and slouchy, and I'm not sure this is the kind of cardigan that I want to be that way. So if I haven't already, I'll put in a picture of the finished cardigan of Amy's example, and now I'll show you my progress, which is surprisingly a lot so this is folded in half, but just so you can see, here is what I have. So I finished all the ribbing, which took a while because that was on pretty small needles, and I finished the first full repeat of the pressed flowers. It's really pretty. I love it. So yeah, you can see how the spin cycle is color changing a bit. Here it's a bit more red, a bit more pale, and then it's going into a little bit more of the true pink. And I just love how like the Tweety bits pop out in the cricket as well. You can see in the ribbing. And it just kind of, I don't know, the combination of the Tweety and the color changing yarn it's really doing it for me. So yeah, but yeah, like I said, that's folded in half so you can see the full. It's pretty long rows, so I'm surprised, honestly. I knitted all of the color work part. I probably knit like the first flower and a half yesterday, and then I finished the second half of the second flower this morning. So, and this is, again, it's mosaic knitting, so you're slipping stitches. So I feel like it actually works out pretty quickly. So yeah, I'm really excited about this. I like can't stop knitting on it. It's so fun to work on, and it just feels very springy, and I can't wait to wear it. I have a long way to go before that. This will probably be like, maybe I'll finish it this summer, who knows. It's pretty small needles. I think I actually went up a needle size because I didn't have the recommended needle size, and I thought that would be fine since I was trying to go like a little bit for an in-between size anyway. So I'm knitting this on size 4s, but I think it like 3.75 is recommended. So it's a fairly small needle, pretty long rows, but oh, I just love this. It's knitting up so nice. The colors are so pretty. So yeah, really exciting new cast on. This one I just couldn't wait to get it on my needles. Like it was just so springy, and yeah, I love it, and I can't wait to work on it for the next couple of months. I have one more new cast on and knitting whip to share with you. So I've talked about this one before when I purchased the yarn for it. This is the Eun sweater, E-U-N, by November Knits, and I have been obsessed with it ever since she released the pattern, and I knew I was gonna make one. Like as soon as I saw I had a vision, I was like, I wanna make this in this yarn, and the yarn is, it is Derium Natura's Gilead base, which is their worsted base. It's 100% wool, and it's their new color cacao. So let me show you what I have so far. Actually, first let me put a picture in of the finished pattern so you can see it. It is in a pretty oversized raglan. It has decorative increases with ribbing, and then a super dramatic split hem with a ribbed body, which I love a split hem. I feel like they're just really easy to fit on me. I'm much smaller on the top than I am in the hips, so a split hem is always a really comfortable fit for me. I feel like I'm gonna knit like 3 of these. I'm obsessed with it. So let me show you what I have so far. Boop. just the yoke, just working on the yoke. So yes, this is the cacao color. You can see it's a really pretty rich dark brown, almost purple, honestly. It's pretty rich, pretty warm. Or warm, I don't know, you know what I mean. It's a red, it's got like a reddish purple undertone. So you knit this really squashy, nice 2x2 neckband, and then that's folded over. So it is a double folded collar. You knit that down, and then you do short rows. And I don't know what happened. I feel like, you see this right here? That's my short rows. And it didn't happen on, like on this side, you can't see them, but something weird was happening on this side. And no matter how many times I tried to redo it, I was still getting that. So I don't know what happened there. And I tried to like re-look up the technique and make sure I was doing it right, and I was. So I'm not sure what happened here, but there's a little bit of texture there where my short rows were. So I'm hoping that'll block out. And if not, I mean, it's like right by the neckline, so I don't think it'll bother me. But then, yeah, then you start your raglan increases after you finish the short rows. And you can see the raglan increases are this ribbed panel, and it continues from the neckline ribbing, which is just a really nice detail. There, make one right and make one left increases. And then the rest is just stockinette. So this yarn, I love this yarn. It's like pillowy soft. And it's making a really like squishy, bouncy sweater. This, yeah, here's the back. I'm in love with this. I love it. It's a little bit slower going than some of the other yokes I've done, just because, like I said, it's really oversized. I'm sorry, the clinking is all of my little stitch markers on here. You can see these ones are card suits. My sister made those for me. And then on the back, I've got some little raw sapphire markers and this really pretty stitch marker that I got from Maria at the Woolen Forest. Her podcast, she has an Etsy shop where she makes stitch markers, so I picked those up from her. So yeah, really excited about this one. It's a little slow going and it's a heavier knit, so I'm not super in a rush to finish it, but it's really, really fun to work on, and I just love this yarn, and I feel like it's the perfect friend for this pattern. I think the designer actually recommends this in like a DK with mohair held double, giving you a worsted weight, which would be amazing too. I feel like a mohair version would be so good, but I really just wanted this like classic, like squishy worsted version. I can see myself wearing this like constantly in the fall. So yeah, this is gonna be another ongoing summer project. Very pleased with it so far. This one is available up to a 66-inch bust. And if I didn't say about the Pressed Flowers cardigan, that one's available up to a 74-inch bust. So these are both pretty size inclusive, which we love to see. Last whip, sorry, this might be a long one today. Last whip I'm going to touch on. I don't have anything to show you except a picture. It is my Omega quilt, my king-sized Omega quilt. I finished piecing the top. Yay! So I definitely didn't, I was like a week or so behind on the quilt along that was being run over on Instagram, but honestly, I really wasn't like actively participating in it that much. I just was like loving the encouragement of seeing other people working on theirs and getting the emails and everything. So yes, I did finish the quilt top. I can't even begin to show it to you in person because it's so huge and heavy. It's absolutely enormous. It is like 125 by 90 inches. So it's like, it's huge. Like it's so big. But I do have a picture. I did like a fun like quilt swirl after I put it all together. So I'll put that in. Really like how it turned out. So next steps are to baste it. I have the batting and the backing. Just gotta put it all together, and then I'm gonna have to try and wrangle it on my home sewing machine. My plan is to just follow the wavy check lines for the quilting, nothing fancy. It's such a beast. There's no way I'd be able to do anything really fancy on my home machine. But I do want to try doing it myself. I've never done a quilt size, a king size quilt before on my own machine. And a little preview, my next quilt is also going to be a king size quilt. One of my best friends is getting married this summer, and I told her and her fiance, you know, you tell me for your wedding gift, I can either give you cash, something off your registry, or if you'd prefer, I will make you a quilt. And they decided they wanted the quilt. So that's nice to hear, and I'm excited to make it, but they want a king size quilt for their bed. So I need to get started on that sooner rather than later. So I do need to finish up my Omega. Generally this year, I think maybe one quilt a quarter is going to be a good pace for me. So I'm hoping to finish the Omega by the end of March. So that gives me like another, we'll see if that happens. I think if I could maybe finish it in April, that would be good. I was like, oh, that only gives me like another week and a half, and then I'm going on a trip. Anyway, the next quilt I think is going to be I'm totally blanking on the name of it right now, but I'll put a picture in and put the info down here. It's a triangular design by Lo and Behold, and I've made one before, and it's very fun to make. There's not a king size available, but my plan is actually to just double the size of the triangles. So instead of making like smaller, like 3-inch triangles, make like 6-inch triangles. And I would have the same amount of piecing, it would just be bigger pieces. And I think that would be really impactful in a king size quilt. So that is the tentative plan. I will be using secondhand materials for this one. My friend and I are both very into sustainability, and she specifically asked that it be made with secondhand materials. So in the next few months, I'll start going to some local thrift stores and trying to gather some fabrics and stuff to get started on that next quilt for their wedding, which is at the beginning of August. So then this will be my summer quilting project, and I'm excited about it. It's gonna be fun. Okay, that's it for whips. That was a lot. I know I had a lot of FOs and some new cast-ons. It's been an exciting couple of knitting weeks for me. Acquisitions, all I had was the yarns for my pressed flowers cardigan. So I can just briefly show them again. But yeah, like I said, the Cricket, Kelborn Wool's Cricket, that I ordered from Wild Hand, which is a local yarn store in Philadelphia. And the dye and the wool I ordered directly from Spin Cycle because I couldn't find anyone else that had the quantity I needed of this color. And yeah, I was shocked at how quickly they shipped, the Spin Cycle specifically, because that comes from Washington State, which is on the other side of the country from me. But it came really, really quick. So yeah, those were my only acquisitions. Just to do a little bit of chat. It's not really a knit and chat because I'm not knitting. But yeah, so the reason I didn't podcast last weekend, which was my plan, it's just been a busy couple of weeks. So last weekend was Troy's birthday. So we were out doing stuff with his friend, you know, our friends and his family all weekend, which was really fun. But you know, that's just when you're going out and you're busy, that just takes a lot of time. And excuse me, I really couldn't find time to record. And then this week was just really busy work week. So I work as a professional designer and fashion designer, and every once in a while we have these big meetings where we like assort the collection for the season basically. And generally my work situation is hybrid, so a couple days in office, a couple days at home, but this week was a week whenever we have these meetings we're in the office all day, all week. So you know, that makes it hard to work on your projects as much. Just adding in even the commute, and you know, usually we're working longer hours, so it just was a busy week. It was a good week, but it was a busy week. So yeah, I really wanted to take those few extra days to make some progress over the weekend on my projects to show you, and to not feel like rushed to record. You know, I want to keep making these videos on a regular basis, but I don't want to put pressure on myself to do it because it's fun and it should be fun and it shouldn't be like a stressful thing. And right now it hasn't felt like that at all. As long as I just give myself permission to not, if I am too busy, I'm not going to do it, and that's okay. So I will still aim to record about every 10 days to 2 weeks. I think that's a good sweet spot for me going forward. To update you on my seedlings, you might actually, some of them you can see some of them moved in here. So I've been talking about getting ready for my garden. We did purchase some garden boxes because we got lazy and didn't want to make them ourselves. So we need to get a bunch of dirt delivered to fill those in. But I planted all my seedlings and they've all sprouted and they're just like little babies. And it's so nice to see those like first signs of spring coming up. So what did I plant? I planted 3 different kinds of peppers. So we have shishitos, jalapenos, and poblanos. I have heirloom tomatoes, grape tomatoes. These are green onions you see right here above me. I also am starting 2 different kinds of flowers. So we have nasturtiums and marigolds, which are both like companion plants for tomatoes and stuff like that. And what else? That might be it. That's it for now. I have some other stuff I'm gonna directly plant in the ground when it gets a little warmer. So we're gonna do some sunflowers over here on the side of the house. I'm gonna try a couple different kinds of beans, which I'm excited about, and maybe some strawberries somewhere. So that's just really exciting. It's so fun to see those little tiny sprouts come up. So that's been satisfying. And the last thing is I wanted to tell you I'm going to be doing a special video sometime in the next couple of weeks. So I feel like I don't make really rigid plans for my knitting because those projects tend to take longer and I tend to like follow my whims with them a little bit more and just see what's in my stash. But for sewing, for the last couple of years, I have been in the habit of making a seasonal sewing plan. So if you follow me on Instagram, you've probably seen these. I have a cork board, and on the seasonal like equinox, or you know, like the first day of spring, the first day of summer, the first day of fall, that's when I like finalize and share my sewing plans for the upcoming season. So the spring equinox is actually tomorrow. So I will be sharing, that's hard to believe, I will be sharing on Instagram tomorrow some of my, oh my gosh, I don't know if I said my Instagram. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place today. If I didn't share it already, you can find me on Instagram at Sarah_seams. I probably shared it already, I'm sorry. Anyways, yes, I'll be sharing that tomorrow. Just a picture of my corkboard with my plans on it, and some little fabric swatches. But I thought I would also do a video and share a little bit more in depth about my plans and the fabrics that I've chosen, size availability for all the patterns, and just share like a little bit more of an in-depth view about my spring sewing plans. I'm like looking at them up on the wall right now and I'm very excited. Lots of fun stuff on there. So right now I'm still waiting for some of the fabrics to arrive, so I probably won't record that until I can show you the physical fabrics. Right now I just have little like printed out pictures of the fabrics, and that's not as fun to look at. So yeah, sometime in the next couple weeks, I'm gonna record a special video about my spring sewing plans, and I think that'll be exciting. I also, just if anyone's interested in hearing more about that process, I did write a blog post for My Body Model, which is a company that creates, it allows you to create croquis, which are little fashion drawing figures based on your own measurements, which is so cool. Like, it's so helpful to imagine what a garment is going to look like on your actual body. So yeah, if you haven't checked out My Body Model, I really recommend it. But yeah, I will link down below in the description box the article that I wrote for them about how I use my customized croquis to do my sketches and how I like go about my seasonal planning. And I'll talk more about that in the special video as well, but that is something coming up in the next few weeks. I think I'm also going to do a special video in April for local yarn store day, and I'll talk more about that in future episodes, but got a couple special episodes coming your way this spring. So I'll still be here every couple of weeks doing the traditional episodes, but I'm excited to film those more special episodes as well. And that is all I have today. So thank you so much again for being here. Thank you to everyone who has liked and subscribed. I can't believe we reached 100 followers already. That feels really special. Thank you so much for being here and participating in the conversation below in the comments or over on Instagram. Let me know what you're working on, where you're watching from. I'm so happy that you're all here. And yeah, that is it. So thank you again. I will see you in a couple of weeks. And yeah, that's it. Bye.